All right, so the question that I would be corrected would be question number 3 on the white copy of the test. And the question is, what is the meaning of standard error in sample? For my answer, I put the mean is the dot of one person per dot. My answer was too vague in the sense that I realized that, yes, it means after you take the sample population, I take the population from the sample, that yes, that each dot means one person or means one person's answer. However, standard error is not just the dot; it's actually the distance between the actual when you take the mean of the actual population and the mean of the sample. The difference between those two values. So, for example, when you have your population, I kind of drew it out a little bit. So it's just your population is your entire group. From the population, you have a sample, and the sample is just basically the group, a random group of people from that population that you chose that you're actually going to be surveying in this case. In this case, the standard error basically means how much the sample means varies from the population means. This is basically just means you're just finding the difference instead of, yes, each dot means one person, but you find the difference between what that answer was. So say for instance, we're talking about the classroom height. There's 20 students in the classroom. Well, between students in the classroom, I'll take a sample of 10. Out of those 10 students, the average height in the entire classroom may be 6 feet, but my sample height may be 5'8". So now what I'm doing is subtract 6 from negative. And one more final thing, whenever you have a higher standard error, that basically means your data is less precise versus a lower standard error. That means your data is more tightly or spread more accurate. All right, so my last and final question I'll be correcting will be question number 5. And this question states that question 5A and 5B are 2 parts that I missed. It states in a random sample of 500 adults, the proportion of those who drank alcohol in the last 7 days was 0.64. Question part A states write statistic using scientific correct notation. And also question number 4 is how many data values would be in each bootstrap sample. In this case, let's start with question number 5A. In this case, I did put in the correct notation as p hat. However, I did not put in the case the notation for p hat. So I understand now when I'm answering the question like that, I actually had to put p hat equals. And in this question, we actually was given the value which was 0.64. So that was, I would say, just a simple mistake that I made rushing. But of course, I understand now that when you're asking for the correct notation, it's not just the p hat, or it's actually what the p hat is supposed to equal. In this case, question number 5B says how many data values would be in each bootstrap sample. Of course, now I missed this question because I didn't actually understand what a bootstrap sample was. I took a guess of 100, but now I understand when you do bootstrap sample. I kind of got my definition mixed up in a sense, but when you do a bootstrap sample, in this case, it should have been 500 because we had a total of 500 adults that made up the sample. So anytime you have a bootstrap sample, it's always going to be the amount of people who were actually surveyed. It's going to be the amount of people